I've realized that people just can't handle uncomfortable conversations. It kind of makes me laugh because I love them, to be honest. I feel like the more uncomfortable the conversation, the more beneficial it is, the more beneficial outcome that will come from these conversations. I actually listened to a podcast, haven't finished it, but I listened to a podcast the other day with Stephen Bartlett and Simon Sinek from a couple of years ago, and it was about leadership and it was about uncomfortable conversations. And in my mind, I'm like, I love having battles. I love having head-to-head. I love getting uncomfortable with people because one, you see what they're made of, two, you see what you're made of, and three, you usually get a really good outcome. In my previous businesses, me and one of the other co-founders would go head-to-head like every day, and probably wasn't the benefit, probably didn't benefit the rest of the team that much, but for us, we got loads done. Any ideas we had, any disputes we had, any issues we had, boom, they get fixed straight away. Like no around, there was no resentment, there was no harboring these feelings, there was no I don't want to tell this person this because it's a tough conversation to have and I don't want to think that I'm going to hurt their feelings. It's like that. Take all of that out of the equation and just get it done. Have you got the time to waste to around, to wait for people to tell you how they actually feel? I know with my team internally, I'm a big believer in, if you've got any issues, tell me right away. If you don't like what I'm saying, tell me right away. If you don't like how you're being treated, tell me tell me everything right away, because the biggest thing that you can do for me is give me feedback. I need that. I need the gift of feedback. Just tell me, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. I'll push back on most of it, but I do not care about being wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm wrong so often that maybe sometimes I'm right. It doesn't really bother me. What really bothers me is when people get shy, they get cowardly, they think, you know what, I'm just going to do that and I'm going to carry it on my shoulders, I'm going to let that ruin my day, ruin my mindset, and ruin everything else. Because if you keep that energy and that emotion in and you don't say what you're thinking, you don't say what you're feeling, ruins everything. You won't close on calls, you won't have a good time, you won't be present with your friends and family, you won't. Maybe the gym would be better because that energy, that emotion, and that pissed off sort of thoughts might help you push more, but it's stupid, it's self-sabotage. So for me, I'm a big believer in, I'll go hard at you, but that gives you free reign to come back at me. I don't expect you to do it all day every day. There's a hierarchy for a reason. But if I say something or I ask you to do something or there's this on the agenda and you're like, I don't have the capacity, I can't do it, it's not on my priority list, at least I'm like, cool, well, let's work through it, let's find a solution, let's make sure that we can get it so that it actually works. But I know that people just don't like having these uncomfortable conversations. You're never going to get anywhere at all. You're never going to be able to bring in to build a good business. If you ever bring in partners or co-founders or you have other businesses in the future, never going to be able to do that if you can't have uncomfortable conversations. Setting boundaries, setting expectations. You won't be able to hire anyone good because it just won't work like that. People need to be told and kept in line, and there's a fine line between being told and kept in line and just being a dictator. For me, I know that I'm a hammer. I like to hammer people because I know that if they don't crumble, they'll rise from the ashes. I know I've said it before, but that's how I like to operate. So I'm still learning now how not to operate like that. Just because I benefit from that style of leadership and training doesn't mean everyone else does. And I know who does and who doesn't, but I like to push their buttons anyway because I want them to uncomfortable, because I want them to be a bit annoyed, and then I want them to have the uncomfortable conversation with me for them to tell me this isn't the management style that I like. And maybe I'm a sick fuck for saying that. I don't know. When I say it, I'm like, yeah, really unnecessary. I am unnecessary. That's kind of one of the things I love about myself. Unnecessary sometimes, over the top, overboard. But anyway, I know that by doing that, if they don't like that management style, I still want them to be a leader. I still want them to be autonomous. I still want them to have thick skin. So they're going to have to grow a pair and tell me. And I have these conversations a lot with people. And when I noticed it here, I'm like, cool. How can you ever push back on someone in a sales call? How can you ever challenge someone's mindsets, thought processes, belief systems if you can't have uncomfortable conversations with people that you know? Maybe you can put on a pair of big boy pants when you're on a sales call and maybe that will change. Luckily for you. Wow, well done. But you need to be having these uncomfortable conversations because then people know where you stand. But just picture this. Someone doesn't want to buy your product or service. How are you ever meant to sit in the objection pocket? And what I mean by that is when you're handling objections for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, how are you ever meant to sit there comfortably, relaxed, not bothered if you can't have uncomfortable conversations? For me, it's a no-brainer. The more of them you have, the better at them that you get. The better at them that you get, the more calm and composed you'll be, the more calm and composed that you'll be in these scenarios and situations, the less feathers that will get ruffled of yours, the less triggered you'll feel, the less jarred that you'll get, and then that energy only makes them feel better, more likely to buy. Also, you just seem like more of a don, like a stoic don, like a mafioso motherfucker that isn't going to be rattled by anyone, that isn't going to take shit, that isn't going to be dropped. I had a guy in the community, he had a job, got a sales job, smashed it for the first couple of weeks, but with a lot of people, what they think is they get the job, then they think they don't need coaching anymore. They don't need the community. They don't need the training. They don't need to upkeep the skills that got them there. And then they lose the job because their close rate dips. And I asked this guy, I was like, what happened then? I was like, because it's easy to get a job. So it's hard to be a good closer. He was like, yeah, I get that now. That makes sense. He was like, I just didn't continue my education. And I guess what happened really was I didn't earn anyone's respect. I was like, okay, why not? He's like, because they're older than me. I'm like, cool. So really, when you're coming into the call, you're either not ready, you haven't got your balls ready to fly, and when people challenge you, you're not ready to challenge them back. He was like, correct. I was like, so what are you going to do? He's like, I'm just going to have to put myself in the position of the authority every time I go on a call. I'm like, good, because this is what happens with people. Happens time and time again. People get a job, they close a couple of deals because they're, sort of semi-consciously competent. And then they're like, oh, I'm good at this. And then they get a few hard people, they get a few A-type personalities, their confidence drops, they become a bitch, they become a pushover, then they don't close again. Then they either leave sales, they get fired from their job, or they look at themselves in the mirror and think, I wasn't good enough, I haven't been putting myself in enough uncomfortable positions, I haven't been challenging enough people. Because if you look at it like this, anyone that works with anyone needs to respect the person. If I'm going to work with someone and they just roll over and they just do as I say, I'm never buying from that person ever. I need to be challenged intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I need to be financially, I need to be challenged on every front, usually, because otherwise I just don't want to work with them. A good example is the closer who closed me on one of the recent deals that I paid for. Very smart, very in tune with mindset, very sort of quantum mechanics based closing style. So for me, I already like that style. I preach it. That's the big thing that I push is the mindset style close. But I was like, what you've done is a very good job at what I currently do, and could be arguably better than me. I doubt that, but on the call it was exactly what I needed because I respected him for it and I enjoyed the style. So I know initially if he's going to be like this, what's the rest of the company like? What's the rest of the business like? What's the coaching like? What's the community like? What's the support like? What are the people at the top of the food chain like? So for me, I was like, if you're the closer, what are the owners going to be like, who I now have access to? So for me, that's a big thing. It's like, if you're coming to a call and you're a soft motherfucker, you're going to lose. You have to wake up every day and be pretty ready to go to war. And I'm a big fan of people going too far. I'd rather you cross the line and you get a bit of heat for it, or you lose a few people from it, but at least they'll respect you. Same on a cold call, same when you're getting a job, same when you're doing anything. If you're too soft, people will think they can walk all over you. This is why guys typically say happy wife, happy life, because they lose frame. And this is why I say the book Pitch Anything is a great book, because it just highlights what frame is. But a lot of men, they'll get into a relationship with a strong frame, an authority frame, powerful frame, a leader's frame, and then when they get to know the chick, they lose all of that. They become softer, they become less motivated, they're out of the gym more, and then all that happens is their confidence drops, their frame is lost, they put the woman on the pedestal, everyone gets comfortable, then the woman loses respect for them, and then they split and they go their separate ways. There is a role for a man and a woman for a reason. Some people can operate in both roles, some people only one. Doesn't matter what role you have, it matters that you can have the uncomfortable conversations, and if you're in the role, whichever role that is, you have to acknowledge it and you have to want to be there. Most men don't want to be pushed around by their missus, but most men will accept it because they're soft. They don't want to push back because they're scared of what might happen. This is the same with sales. It's the same with everything. If you're scared of pushing someone back to earn some respect because you think that they'll not buy from you, then you're focusing on the wrong thing. I know that if someone doesn't turn up to a call and they're like, sorry, I was late, if they didn't tell me beforehand, find another time. And even then I'm a bit like, you've wasted 10 minutes of my time. I was late for a call earlier, but I messaged beforehand just to let him know, and then I said I'll be 15 minutes. I was there in like 7 minutes. I was like, cool, so I'm going to tell him I'm late. He's probably not going to care anyway, he's got other shit he can get on with, but then I'm going to tell him 15 minutes just to give me the breathing room. Then I turn up in 7. It's like, you've got to manage his expectations, got to manage his boundaries. I know the guys that I've been speaking with recently, some of my mentors, they're late to my calls, but they just message me, give me 2 minutes, give me 5 minutes, no sweat, give me 10 minutes. Just we get on, because it's like the little information beforehand is so key. But when you're going onto a sales call and you don't know people as well and you're new, they're instantly going to test you. They're instantly going to try you. Who's this 22-year-old chump thinks he can sell me fucking B2B marketing software? And you've got to put yourself in the position of a business owner, put yourself in the position of the authority and the leader, and call shit out. Tell them what they've already been through. Tell them what they're already their main pain points are. Become the authority, become the leader in the situation. Otherwise, you won't close shit. I know it's just a roundabout way of saying everyone needs to grow up, grow a pair, and be a leader, but easier said than done. But it was on my mind, so I thought I'd let you know. So I guess if there's any takeaway for it is, if you don't back yourself, if you don't think you've got a big pair of balls that you don't mind swinging around, if you don't mind, if you get upset by rustling feathers, if you can't handle a little bit of confrontation and uncomfortable conversations, then not only won't you succeed in sales, you won't succeed in life, you won't succeed in relationships, you won't succeed at anything, because you'll basically roll over any sign of danger. Subscribe if you want. Be a fucking man. If you're a chick, chicks typically actually better at this than men. Chicks always wear the trousers. That's why women salespeople are so great. But yeah, subscribe in a bit. Pleasure. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.